I'm delighted to be here with the beautiful Kim Herman. So Kim is one of I'm going to call you all as long as I can, Thrive Factor profilers, because I feel like we're a family, aren't we, in the old Thrive Factor world, Thrive Factor school graduates and students. And I've known Kim for some time now. It's an absolute honour to have her so committed and enthused about all things Thrive Factor. And I know that you were really keen, Kim, and I'm going to ask you to share a little bit about yourself and that, but really keen to add the Thrive Factor profiling as a complement to the plethora of things that you already are trained and skilled in. So come and do a little bit of an intro and tell us about I guess who you are, what you do as a mindset, transformation specialist, and then we'll dive into some questions about how you use mindset and how you use the Thrive Factor with mindset.
Thank you. So I run my business, Kim Herman Transformations, and basically I'm here to help mainly women, but I do work with teens to work through their emotional layers, change their limiting beliefs and allow their inner radiance to shine out into the world. And so the Thrive Factor was a no-brainer to add to my toolkit, because I know when I got profiled by you, probably a couple of years ago now,
easily 2 years, if not a little bit more.
It was just like I think for the first time ever, I understood who I was, and I understood how my archetypes led me to some of the emotional difficulties that I had had.
Yeah.
And, when you have that knowing and understanding, you're able to limit the challenges moving forward. And you also have, I guess, a level of acceptance about things that have happened in the past too.
Yeah.
And when you know yourself, it's life-changing when you understand who you are.
I know, revelation, but not that difficult. I find it so interesting, it's not a new thing, but so many coaches and people doing transformation and mindset work are talking about the being you and how to do that. And I've been going on about it for such a long time. And yet there are so many women, and we know plenty of them, that still, what I say, waft around in the world going, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know who I am, and not being able to, even if they do have some clarity on who they are, not feeling like they can really rely on that clarity. So they don't trust it. They don't trust themselves. So
yes.
Now, I want to dive right in and ask you to share the fact that you have this many archetypes. Who's counting?
I do have 7. And I remember when you told me that, I remember saying to you, is this a good thing or not a good thing?
Yeah.
Am I just really complex and complicated, or what does this mean? And we've I think we made the decision it's not necessarily good or not necessarily bad. It's just who I am.
It's who you are, exactly. You know what? That's such a good thing for everyone listening to us at any point in time that you'll be listening to this, that, I often get people say to me, how many archetypes should I have? Or I've only got 3 or 4, and someone else in like a program or something has got 6. Like, what's wrong with me? Nothing. You have what you have. But yeah, Kim, you are the only woman in the world that legitimately has 7 archetypes. There are lots that have 6, but you are extra special for 7.
And I can see where they've all really played out.
Yeah.
Some of them have been more dominant in different parts of my life, like especially in teens. There were some really dominant ones that I don't see as so dominant now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really fascinating, and I see how they work together as well.
Yeah, good. So do you want to tell us, I know that while some people say they try not to have favourites, and I don't necessarily encourage favourites, we've all got favourite archetypes, and I've got ones that are favourites for me in certain moments or certain things that I'm going through. So do you, and I know that of your 7, you've definitely got some that you use more regularly in your life and your work. So do you want to tell us what they are and why you love those archetypes so much?
Look, I think I've probably got 2 that are leaders of being my favourites, and that would be the Inspirer Believer and the Shapeshifter Alchemist. I love how I'm optimistic. I remember as a teenager and in my early 20s, my mum often saying to me, you're unrealistic. You're so optimistic, it's unrealistic. But I guess I've always been a half, a glass half full person and tried to look for the positive in things and be positive that things are going to turn out. And so, you know, I really cherish having her, and I am a real cheerleader for others, and I love doing that. And, you know, I guess she's one of my archetypes that I wasn't surprised about when you shared her with me. And then the Shapeshifter Alchemist, I mean, I've always been into woo-woo and magic and spiritual stuff, and, you know, from a very, very young age. But she really held the key to me not knowing who I was.
Interesting.
Like, it made so much sense when you taught me about her and how, you know, because I have always known that I've been very adaptable and have different groups of different types of people as friends. And, you know, managed, you know, I went to a pretty rough school, you know, and I see that her ability to adapt helped me deal in that environment.
Yeah.
I was able to meld in and fit in. But then I could go hang out with a total different group of people and fit in as well. But I didn't know who I was. I felt lonely. I didn't know where I belonged. And so understanding that aspect with her was pretty huge for me, and made me realize there was nothing wrong with me. That she was why I didn't feel like I fitted in, because I was so adaptable. I hadn't really spent the time to know who I was and understand who I was.
And yet, when you can understand that aspect of the Shapeshifter Alchemist, you can actually, you're positioning yourself to be able to see and to know, like in such an embodied, rely upon way, that it's not that you don't fit in anywhere, it's that you fit in everywhere. Because you can adapt yourself to all the different places and spaces and things. And I remember when we first met, as we said, it was like a while ago now, and you, over that sort of time, I got to know about some of the other careers you'd had as well. And I was like, that's classic Shapeshifter. So, you know, from accountant, naturopath, the work you do now, and all the other bits and pieces in between and thereabouts. Is like, you know, for someone to have had that much evolution on a personal, professional level, let alone knowing then now as I do more about your actual, you know, your lived life rather than your professional life. It's like, yeah, well, if that's not a shapeshifter, something's wrong with my whole profiling framework.
And it's funny because, like, even though I've had such big career changes, I don't regret any of them.
No, they're all parts of who
and I carry, you know, some of the tools from each of them into my everyday life. And yeah, I know some people are like, whoa, that's a big change, especially when they ask what I do now and I say that I used to be an accountant, and they go, whoa, that's a big change.
I know, it's funny, isn't it, how people's minds immediately go to, how can you have the skills, you know, that are, you know, the analytical, process-driven, loving numbers, speaking all of that, to as you say, Kim, like, it's more your spiritual, your woo-woo, you're working with people's minds and bodies, spirits, and all those sorts of things. Yeah, for a lot of people, they're like, how do those two things exist in one person?
But then I do have the mediator diplomat and the liberator engineer.
Exactly.
That, you know, so they, you know, really were, I guess, big, especially the mediator diplomat, big influence in that when I was in that career.
Yeah, for sure. Make complete sense to me seeing your archetypes. But yeah, I can imagine again when other people only know a part of us, like who we are now, or, you know, something from before, and then you, as you said, they like, what do you do now? And you tell them like, well, how, like, can't compute. And yeah, as you said, you're all parts. So your 7 archetypes give you an incredible depth of relatability to others, because you can, you know, connect with them on so many different levels. So what I'd love to know now, because I said, you know, mindset's your space. You do a lot of transformation work, but mindset is a big part of all of that, and something that I know you and I connect on, our love of mindset and all the types of things that we can do to support our clients with mindset. But how have you used the mindsets of your archetypes to support you to show up as the best version of yourself for your clients?
I mean, I guess this year's been a pretty big year for me, and not just with COVID. I had a major massive changes within my business that created some turmoil, but, you know, I certainly connected with my archetypes to help me through that. I think especially the liberator engineer was a big one, because I recognized, or she helped me recognize, that there was a real opportunity for me to create more freedom in my business. And I really used her to enable myself to do that. And then, you know, my Inspire Believer kept me positive, but I also, you know, I was also realistic, and I teach this to anyone I work with. Mindset is when we go through an acute occurrence in our life that is emotional, that we have to allow ourselves to feel the emotions as well.
Yes.
That it's not about just band-aiding them up and pretending, oh, I'm more positive, that it is actually important to spend some time actually feeling, you know, whether it be the grief, the sadness, the disappointment, the anger, whatever, the range of them even.
Yeah.
But then it's about not remaining stuck there. And then, you know, tapping into my Inspire Believer, I've put more of my shapeshifter alchemist into my work now, where she was very much, I wouldn't say hidden, but not seen as much as she is being seen now.
She wasn't as prominent. I mean,
no.
There, but then I know you on a whole different level. But to others that may have been connecting with you in your community, they wouldn't have seen that as much.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. And I've really loved having her, you know, be more present in what I'm doing now. Yeah. I think she always wanted to be more present.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. You know, one of the things I often say to women when we're talking about the shapeshifter alchemist is that despite the fact a lot of women with this archetype will talk about being shy, depends on their other archetypes, but this is the archetype that is born to be on stage and to perform. So the shapeshifter alchemist within you ladies, and Kim, you've learned this, is always going to want to be out there and to be seen. But at the same time, your visibility can be one of your biggest challenges. So,
and certainly, you know, that definitely applies to me. You know, the combination with the shapeshifter and Inspire Believer, if I lose my mojo and I'm not feeling inspired, then I very much go into hiding. If I'm not feeling certain in who I am, then I'll go into hiding with, you know, the shapeshifter's influence. But, you know, I very much spent time really connecting with them. My mentor teacher came out to play and had a ball because I went and, you know, did some further training and professional development. And so, you know, she loved that and is equally excitable to now share that with everyone else and with my clients. So
that helps to keep the energy, I'm going to say high, because the Inspire Believer is, you know, is high, but then she can equally be as low as she can go high. So I think that, you know, the using your other archetypes, setting the more of the spiritual and creative and alchemical aspect of the shapeshifter alchemist, and your mentor teacher learning and applying that, learning and sharing that, your liberator engineer redefining freedom and getting clearer on that, that helps to create a beautiful balanced and increasing energy for the Inspire Believer, so that we can be have the energy we need to keep going, rather than to have that highs and then have the dips, which are yucky and not easy to get out of for some of us, that have that archetype.
And you know, life is naturally up and down, our moods and our emotions, but like you said, when you can tap into your archetypes to give you that energy, you're not going to stay down as long or go down as far. And you know, and I encourage all my clients that I profile, when life's feeling difficult, tap into your archetypes. You know, I recently had someone who I'm also friends with on Facebook, and I'd noticed some of her posts, and I messaged her and I said, you know, I think you need to reconnect with your archetypes. And
I do that all the time.
Yeah, tap into
the behavior.
Yeah. And she was like, oh yeah, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
So it is easy to have your profile done and forget about them, but they're gold. They're always there to support you. They're always who you are, and they always will be who you will be.
Oh, so much so. And I find it interesting that, you know, over the years that I've profiled the hundreds of women that I have now, that someone will do a profiling session and they will, you know, rave about that confidence, the clarity, this is who I am, I feel so good, and then nothing. You know, they won't do, not that you have to do any more work, but then they'll, you know, at some point in time, I might hear from them again, or like you said, see something going on. And you know, the Thrive Factor is not the be all and end all. It's not the one-stop solution, but it is a reliable way for us to really to connect with who we are. And, you know, I love doing that too, just messaging people and going, you know, just have a look at your such and such. And you often pinpoint a particular archetype, so they don't say, you know, go in and look at all of your archetypes, because I think you need to reconnect. And I love the fact that so frequently the response will be, oh, thank you, I've just read X part of the chapter on whatever the archetype was, and now I get what's going on, and now I'm going to do this in response to that. And it's like, oh, thank goodness. Because it's not a one, you know, it's a lifetime learning and connection with self, rather than a, oh, I did that nice little profiling thing and that's it now. I can put that away in a box in the corner and forget about it. And it's not that.
And I think working in the mindset space too, I often call a mind inspire believer. You know, I think from the outside, a lot of people possibly have this perspective that, you know, I've always got my life together and everything's rosy. No, I'm human like everybody else, and there's times that are difficult and there's times that are painful. But I now tap into my inspire believer to tap into my own wisdom and to use the tools I have, or to reach out to someone who uses the tools that I use and get the help that I need to overcome things. So yeah, I love them. And I love sharing them with others.
So you've done some more profiling recently, which is great. And again, it brings me the greatest amount of joy to see someone who's come and done the profiling training, and you're now, you know, you're certified, you're licensed, you're out there using the archetypes in your work and profiling, supporting your clients. So can you share a story about someone that you've profiled, you know, whether it's recently or earlier on, that from a mindset perspective was a huge shift for them? You've probably got multiple bits of stories you can think of.
Yeah, I've got several. I mean, I had one client that had come and done a lot of mindset work with me, and she, you know, had struggled with quite severe anxiety for a big chunk of her life. And when we profiled her, she had all the giving archetypes in her profile, every single one of them. And so, yeah, so, you know, it's all about everybody else. And so, you know, her recognizing that and realizing, oh my gosh, I do have to set boundaries. I do need to take care of me. It's not selfish to take. It was like this real massive confirmation for her. And it also explained, because I remember when she first came to work with me, her, I don't know why I struggle so much. I don't know why I struggle so much. And after profiling her, she was like, oh my gosh, now I get why I got where I got. Because I've just been give to everyone my whole life.
And while that's such an admirable place, and, you know, I particularly say this about advocate rescuers, we love you for your big open hearts, but you're not doing yourself any favours by giving to everybody.
Yeah, and she, you know, she was a mother nurturer as well, and she was a network connector, so it was all about connecting everybody else, and yeah.
Goodness me.
Yeah, but you know, it's just, I think a lot of people, you know, when I've profiled people who have shapeshifter or pioneer seeker, which both have that element of, you know, feeling lonely at times, seeing that epiphany for them, like, oh my gosh, there's nothing wrong with me.
Yes. No, there's not.
And, you know, they thank me and they go, oh my gosh, thank you so much for helping me realize that. It's like they just they're not hard on themselves anymore. It's like huge. And it's rewarding seeing that, seeing a woman recognize that.
Much. You know, you've heard me say this, and some of the others that may listen may have, but I talk often about healthy addictions. Now, this is a healthy addiction for me, and I think I can see it's coming that for you too, that when someone gives you feedback like that, you're like, I want more of this. I want to hear more women say things like this. Not thanking us for what we've done, but for them to have the acknowledgement of the realization that they're...
Absolutely. I think for anything, any of the work I do, when people thank me, I don't want to thank... It's not about them thanking me. The feeling I get is I'm just so overjoyed that they feel good about who they are and that they understand who they are and their light's able to shine out in the world.
Yeah, beautiful.
I'm just we're just the guide.
Yeah. Or even that, you know, the word just is also something that I'm like, you know, my dad used to always say to me, anytime, don't say it's just me. it's me. Like, it was a real, so, and yes, we are the guides supporting women, and there are so many incredible people out there doing great things. At the same time, the uniqueness of the Thrive Factor and profiling the archetypes is something that we hear time and time again. I say, where you and I and the other, Caroline and Jenny, and even our students currently, Ellen and Karen, who are starting to get out there and doing their profiling case studies, that we are all hearing time and time again that affirmation from women around that, oh, this actually is the first time ever that I've actually I know who I am, and I make sense, and I know where I fit, and I know why things have happened, and I know what I can do moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's the gift that it is. I love it.
And it's empowering. And I think, like all the tools I use with my clients, I deliberately choose tools that are empowering. Everyone's healing journey is very unique, and really only they know what they need. It's not up to me to tell people what they need to heal. So I use tools that help them tap into their inner knowing and their inner wisdom and their higher self to get what they need to heal, which is just, it's empowering.
Yeah.
And the Thrive Factor profiling allows them to feel empowered.
Mm-hmm. Such a beautiful way, isn't it? Okay, so before I wrap up, I would love it if you, sitting in your space of mindset transformation specialist and all the things that go with that, if you could share, so anyone, no matter where they're at with their mindset, I think a lot of women are more aware of it. Women in business are definitely more aware of mindset than they may have been previously. Something we all talk about so often. We talk about the way we think and what that does and the influences. And I'm so grateful that it's a common word that we use and we have an understanding of now. But what I find is that still there are so many women that get stuck with it. I don't know what to do to support myself. I'm in a bad loop, or I'm not feeling good, or my thoughts aren't supporting me. So what's 2 or 3 things that you would suggest, like easy little things that women could do by themselves, no training, no need to connect anyone, so they can feel that they can do something for themselves before they get to the point that, they see someone like you or they get profiled? What would you suggest?
I mean, I think that there's a lot of amazing self-help books out there that are motivational, that are easy for women to access, that they can tap into. Daily journaling, I find, is an amazing process, and I always encourage women when they're journaling is always end it on positives. Mm-hmm. Always end it on, what can, something positive about your day. Yeah. Don't make it all about a story.
Yeah.
I guess you might start writing about a situation, but then try and change your mindset into a solution focused mindset. So, okay, this is the situation, but what can I do? What can I change, and what can I do to change it? Yeah. And then just journal on that. And when you allow yourself that stillness and connecting with your heart, you'd be amazing the wisdom that can come out. And you can, the answers are within us. So, we often are able to do that on our own, and just allowing that stillness to just really pause and listen. I think is a big key.
We are wired to be intuitive. It's just, so many other things can get in the way of our intuition, being busy, not believing in ourselves, not knowing who we are, changing things all the time. Listening to, and this is one for all the mentor teachers out there and pioneer seekers, listening to too many teachers telling you how you need to be, what you need to do, and all that sort of stuff. There's so many things that can influence and get in the way of us being able to connect in with our intuition. But yeah,
and I think a big key is recognizing that change can feel scary, and it is a little uncomfortable, but it's often not uncomfortable for long.
No.
So when you're feeling that fear of change, to just kind of breathe and go through it.
Yeah, lovely. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me, beautiful woman.
Thank you for having me. I always love coming talking about
everything. Fabulous.
Yes.
The Thrive Factor. So if there is anyone watching this and you would like to connect with Kim, or to connect with me, or to find out about getting profiled, or if you're a woman in business and you'd like to add something like the Thrive Factor profiling to your business, then if you head to the website, thethrivefactor.com, you will find all the links to do all of those things there. So we would, Kim and I would love to welcome more amazing women into our community of Thrive Factor students and graduates. And, You know, I have a huge vision to have hundreds and hundreds of women over the course of the next decade qualified and out there, licensed to profile as many women as we can reach across the world. So if that feels like something you want to be a part of, then don't sit and wait. Reach out and let's connect. So Kim, have a beautiful day. Everyone who's listening in, no matter when you're listening, where you're listening from, I wish you the most beautiful, thriving day, and we'll be back with more Thrive Factor Live soon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye.